Where are you heading, stranger?
I'm working my way to Seattle, then from there down to Cali. Would you mind giving me a lift?
As long as you don't mind a lead foot and an old car that stalls out and barely stops hop in, I can take you as far west as Sioux City.
Works for me. I appreciate it.
So where are you from?
Yale, New Jersey.
Outside of New York City, right?
You got it. I'm glad you're heading west. What's in Sioux City?
My family's got a garage there, so I'm dropping this Lincoln off to get some much-needed TLC. I absolutely love this car, and daily it. I've had quite the bit of adventures in it.
We got a long drive ahead of us. Would you mind sharing a few?
Not at all, sweetie. Now let's think. I could tell you about the time I chased after a friend who was sleeping with my boyfriend at the time. It was a few years back, and I had just started working at a bank. I wanted to impress my boss, so I wore a dark gray, knee-length pencil skirt, white button-up blouse, tan pantyhose, and patent leather pointy-toe stiletto pumps with a 4.5-inch heel. I was supposed to be working until close when a pipe burst. We had to close early, so I walked out into the brisk late fall air. My heels clicked on the pavement as I unlocked the door to my Lincoln, opened it, and climbed in. The cold air does a number on this car, so I preemptively pumped the gas pedal several times before trying the ignition. The failed start meant I'd be cranking this car for a bit. I jabbed at the floor-mounted pedal a few more times and tried the ignition again. Nothing. I was by myself in a big empty parking lot and was getting nervous. I pumped the gas pedal more and more, getting desperate in my pumping. My feet were killing from the workday, so pounding the gas pedal was not fun at all. The big ol' engine finally sparked to life, and I pounded the gas pedal, revving hard, almost like I was punishing it. I shifted the car into reverse, but it wasn't idling high enough to stay running. It sputtered out and stalled on me. I cursed under my breath as I squished the brake pedal, shifted into park, and then went to work pumping the gas pedal. "Come on!" I said as I was desperately trying to get the car started. I knew once it warmed up I'd be out of the woods, but that felt like a long ways away. Just had to build some pressure in the brakes. The brake fluid reservoir was bone dry this morning, so I hope it's not too big of a leak. Speaking of cranking, this car right now doesn't like starting or stopping. All right, baby, start for mama. Be a good girl, and don't leave us stranded in this intersection. Yes! Sorry about that. Now back to my story. I was cranking the old Lincoln in the cold, empty parking lot when the engine started to sputter to life. I made sure to hold the gas pedal down enough to keep from stalling while I pushed the brake with my left foot and shifted back into reverse. I did the gas brake dance as I shifted into drive and pulled out onto the main road. It started to snow as I was approaching my apartment complex. I went over the speed hump, turned the corner, and saw my friend Claire's blue 1999 Ford Expedition. That's weird, I thought to myself. I got closer and saw her kissing my boyfriend in the entryway. I slammed the brake pedal, causing enough noise to get their attention. Claire turned red and ran to her truck. She was wearing a black North Face jacket, black leggings, and scrunchy black leather flats with a bow. My blood boiled as Claire backed out of the spot and went to leave. I don't know what came over me, but I let off the brake and slammed the gas down. The V8 roared to life as I chased after Claire. She panicked and floored her gas pedal to try and get away from me. With my stiletto pinning the gas pedal down, I caught up to her as she was getting on the interstate. I had vengeance in my heart as I rammed into the back of her truck. Claire's truck jolted forward as I let off the gas to build more momentum and slam into her again. My phone rang. It was Claire. I picked up and Claire screamed, "Let's talk about this." I stayed silent as I nosed up to her bumper and then floored the big gas pedal, pushing her truck forward. I saw her brakes lights glow as her dainty leather ballet flat pushed hard on the brake pedal. I smiled as I saw my speedometer holding steady. The big motor was too much for Claire's brakes. "Stop it!" She yelled into her phone as I was keeping the gas pedal pegged. I could smell her brakes cooking as my sinister smile grew. Suddenly, my speedometer started climbing. I realized I had boiled her brake fluid. The flashing brake lights confirmed it, as I knew Claire probably had no more pressure and was trying to pump the brake pedal to build some. I topped 110 miles an hour when I figured it was time to send her flying. I let up on the gas, but the pedal stayed on the ground. "Uh-oh," I said aloud as I gave it a few pumps. I looked ahead and the road was clear, so I had time. I tried to lift the pedal with my toe, but it would just flop back down. I knew prying up the gas was useless at that point, so I switched to pushing down the brake pedal. The engine stayed high idle as I pushed hard on the brake pedal. The brakes weren't able to grab as I stood on the big brake pedal with both feet. "This is so bad," I said to myself as I saw the flashing brake lights of the expedition ahead of me. Claire was still screaming away. She couldn't stop, and her brakes were out. I could hear the brake pedal thumping in her truck over the phone. I could tell my brakes were starting to go soft, so luckily I remembered to shift into neutral. I grabbed the column shifter and went to do that, but it was jammed. I used all my strength and jumped on the brake pedal hard enough for me to break free from Claire's truck. I cut the wheel and passed it on the right, still stomping the brake pedal with both feet. The irony wasn't lost on me, as I was in a worse position than Claire now. My throttle was jammed wide open, and the car wouldn't shift into neutral. One last idea I had was to turn the car off. I did, and held the brake pedal down firmly with both feet as I maneuvered the car to the shoulder. As I rolled to a stop, I heard honking behind me. I saw the brakeless expedition fly by as the road was going to curve quite a bit ahead. I watched as the truck left the road and disappeared into a field. I suddenly realized I had to get out of there since I kinda did something wrong. I started up the car and the engine roared as the car took off on me. I tried using the brakes to hold it back, but there was no stopping it. I sped past where Claire had gone off and knew there was an exit a few miles north. The brake pedal got really soft under my foot, so I let off thinking I'm conserving brakes. The car sped to 90 as the road still stayed empty ahead. The snow had increased though, and the roads were getting slick. I tried braking a little bit more, but that pushed the temp just high enough to now where the fluid boiled, and the pedal was useless. I began stomping the brake pedal with everything I had, screaming for the car to stop. The exit approached, so I shut the car off and steered for it. I was jabbing the brake pedal quickly, trying to build pressure, but it was no use. I slid off the road and buried the front end into the dirt. I called for a tow and had the car brought to my parents' house where I stayed that night. Funny thing is, Claire never told anyone the real reason why she went off the road. She claimed her gas pedal jammed and the brakes wouldn't stop the truck. I've never told anyone that story. You can keep a secret, right?
Your secret's safe with me.
That's what I like to hear. Now, when it came to getting this car stuck, spring thaw was always a fun time. My parents' house, where I was working on the car after the whole jammed gas pedal, has a dirt driveway. It was one of those stray 70-degree days, so I had spring fever. I was wearing a yellow sundress and white Havaianas flip-flops as I wanted to take my car into town. I had recently finished a brake job and had long finished repairing the throttle cable. I hopped in and gave the big gas pedal a few wake-up pumps. The car refused, like always when I turned the key. "Oh, you stubborn gal!" I muttered as I gave the gas pedal a few more firm and steady pumps. The car must have liked me that day, because it roared to life after minimal effort. I shifted into drive and headed down the driveway. As I made a turn, I didn't see the puddle, and I had no time to stop. I floored the gas pedal to try to speed through it, but I knew I was screwed when I felt the back end sink. "Oh no!" I thought as I floored the gas pedal and saw mud and water kicking up behind me. I tried to be gentle with the pedal and find the sweet spot, hoping to gain traction. The rear-wheel drive car was in a predicament as the axle sank into the mud. I tried shifting into reverse and gently eased onto the gas pedal. I felt the car getting a little bit of traction as it seemed to inch backwards. I kept backing the car until it wouldn't budge any further back. I squeezed the brake pedal with my foot, then slightly pushed on the gas pedal, feeling the rear tires catch and slip over and over. I twisted the steering wheel back and forth, hoping it'd help free the car. I felt less and less catching until my tires spun again. "Drat!" I said, as I pushed the brake pedal in. I gave it one last attempt, putting the car into reverse and easing back. I got to the stopping point and then went for broke. I slammed the gas pedal down and rocketed the car forward. I must have caught a rock or something, because suddenly my car found traction and I was out of the mud pit. I had a lesser problem now where I went into town with the car coated in mud. Well, if stalling isn't bad enough, the brakes are a spongy mess. Come on and work, brakes! Let's start, baby. Let's start. Not too much further to go. Later that spring, it got cold again, so I was back to wearing boots and tights. I had to leave for work one morning early, so I got dressed in a knee-length long-sleeve gray sweater dress, black semi-opaque tights, and knee-high black leather round-toe stiletto boots with a 4-inch heel. I got into the car and pumped the gas for a bit before trying the ignition. The car started sputtering and so wanted to start, but couldn't. I tried coaxing it along, pumping the gas pedal, trying to give it enough fuel to keep going. In the interest of my starter, I gave it a break. I pressed the gas pedal a few more times, worried I was on the line of flooding it. I tried the ignition again and the car sputtered to life. "Thank you," I said as I shifted into drive and headed down the dirt road. I got to the end of the driveway and turned onto the main road. I floored the big floor-mounted gas pedal with my stiletto boot, bringing the engine alive. I gripped the wheel tight as I sped along the winding country road heading to the interstate. The leather crinkled as I ground the gas pedal into the floorboard. I eased off the gas as the on-ramp approached and pushed the brake pedal down, slowing the big car down. As I took the ramp, I floored the gas pedal again, watching as the speedometer climbed. The car rattled and shook as I crested 90. I loved the power I had under my foot, pushing this big old car to its limit. I saw a Stady in a turnaround ahead and slammed the brake pedal hard, trying to slow up before he noticed. The car juddered while I hoped I could slow down enough to avoid a ticket. I passed the trooper as I saw him turn his lights on and pull out. "No," I muttered as I figured I was caught. I started pulling over to the shoulder as the cruiser approached. I was squeezing the brake pedal when the trooper blew past me. Fortune smiled upon me, as now I knew the rest of my ride to work was going to be open roads. My foot left the brake and went back to its rightful place on the gas pedal. I floored the gas pedal again, surging the car forward. My exit approached as I let off the gas and gave the brake pedal firm, hard pressure. I exited the interstate and shortly after got into work. I exited the old car and walked into the bank with my stiletto boots clicking on the pavement. Driving this car fast is such an invigorating thrill. That's all I can remember for now. Let's sit back and enjoy the tunes for the rest of the ride. This is such a bad spot to be stalled out at. We're almost there! Oh, this is so not funny. Come on, and start. You can see the shop from here. My cousins are going to never let me live it down if they see me stranded here. All right, it's been real. If you're ever in Iowa again, make sure to give me a call. And remember, it's our little secret what I told you. Bye!
I'm feeling like thunder. I ain't going under. I'm feeling like thunder.